Welcome, people. It's your boy Into Spurs back here with another video. I'm with my boy Haz, like usual. In today's video, honestly discussing the crazy fact that we're in a relegation battle. Now, Haz, how you been, my bro?
Well, apart from Tottenham, I've been all right, man. But I mean, I streamed the game yesterday because obviously, it wasn't on TV.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I guess we'll get into it, but yeah, I'll let you speak first.
Nah, you know what? No. This is. Can I be honest with you? I wanna know where what your feelings are right now. Because it's clear to me that we're in a relegation battle. We lost to West Ham. We've drawn to Burnley. We lost to Bournemouth. We lost to Wolves, or did we draw to Wolves? I have no clue. But
we drew.
We are in a relegation battle. What's your take, man?
Well, of course, I'm like 10, 12 years older than you, was it 10 years, something like that. Anyway, so when I was growing up, we were in sort of relegation battle, like in the 2000s, like the early 2000s, especially 2004. So about 22 years later now, and we needed certain points. Actually, that point against Arsenal kept us up, like mathematically. So we've been in it before. The problem this time, looking at our squad and the players we have and the manager, is number one, the squad itself, the squad building has been really poor over the years. And I think this is a culmination of like a result of this, like 3-4 years of really poor squad building has led to this. So the squad is so overloaded with youngsters that I'm not confident we have experienced heads to guide us through this phase or this issue, because the state we're in, basically. I'm not confident we have so many young players, and the quality of players themselves are not very good either. We're not attracting players that can come in and fix the problems. I don't think. Like, we don't look like we're going to sign anyone anytime soon. On top of that, talking about Frank, the fans are against him, so it's not like we're together to try and stave off relegation, which means he probably has to go. In the past, we could bring in an interim with lots of experience. Like David Pleat was one. I know you don't know him, but he was at the club a long time, maybe like 30, 40 years or something like that. He was a manager, and then they kept him on as like a director of football. And when we used to have problems in the 90s and the 2000s, that sort of time period, they'd bring him in for 6 months to guide us through as an interim, pretty much. And he still, after the next manager came in, he'd go back upstairs. But we don't have that option now. I mean, Lange is our director of football. He's rubbish anyway. So, like, what I'm saying is we're in a situation now where the squad, I don't think, has the mentality, I think, to get out of it, which worries me. And the manager, I have my doubts whether he can, because he's lost the fans, which doesn't help in this situation. And I think he's lost a lot of the players. And we have some players who don't even want to be here. So,
yeah, no, you're right. You know what? There's big problems at Tottenham, and it trickles down from the top all the way down to the fans, all the way down to just supporting Spurs. I was really disappointed in that Burnley game, to be honest with you. Obviously I was flirting with the idea of relegation before this Burnley game, but for the fact that we drew to Burnley actually segmented me into saying, like, yeah, we're in a relegation battle. And I'm actually fully saying, yeah, this is a relegation battle, because we're only 8 points away from West Ham. And our next fixtures are quite difficult to even pick up points in. The games where we should have been picking up 3 points, we haven't. And it's difficult. It's difficult because one bit of me is like, yeah, but the players are not that bad. But I think it all comes down to the management as well. I think the tactical decisions that Frank has made. And yeah, like, ultimately, even in my match preview that I uploaded at 1 p.m. So if you guys haven't actually watched the video, go look at that video, because that's up right now. And essentially, I said, yeah, the first half there was moments where we did play well. I kind of edged Tottenham as in all fairness, the better team out of both of the teams, you know. So I think we played well in the first half. We did create a lot of chances. There was chances where we could have had more than one goal, you know. It's just the Bradcar had an amazing game, you know. He turned into prime Neuer, you know, like the way he saved certain shots, like there was a Conor Gallagher shot, you know.
Blanky
Off the top of my head, you know, there was a few shots that. Sorry, say that again.
Blanky's header. I don't even remember.
Yes, Solanke's header. Yeah, as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I ultimately edged us as the better of performers, right? But in terms of like how we set up second half, I don't know if the players were in it to win it, because when that second goal went in, yes, the first goal, cool. The first goal, I don't think any of our defenders could have done anything better, like else, you know. It was a good cross from Kyle Walker to Tamzabi, that's what his name is. But I have a problem with the second goal. When they scored the second goal, there was three central defenders that should have
Romero.
gone onto the ball after Vicario saving. And then to top it off, I think Adogi ran into. I said in my preview Van der Ven. I was meant to say Vicario because I think they bumped into each other, and it went through Adogi's legs. So that was really disappointing. That was really disappointing in terms of like it was a defensive failure from the whole of the back line, you know. And the reason you set up to go free at the back for good defense. Do you understand where I'm coming from? To not concede sloppy goals like that, and we conceded a sloppy goal. So ultimately, I feel like we're in a difficult spot. I don't believe our manager can. You know what? Can I be honest as well? If we was to get relegated, I have to blame most of it on Frank. Not only that, I don't think he will be able to keep us up. So this is where I'm I'm on the understanding that we need to sack this manager and bring in a manager that has been in and around this area of relegation. Someone that knows what it takes to grind out points, you know, not concede, not be hard to beat. We really and truly right now, the league is gone for us. There's no way we can improve in our. I don't believe we can with the fixtures that we have going on. I don't believe that Tottenham can improve in where we are on and around the table. But what we can do is stay up, because now look, West Ham is in form. Do you understand where I'm coming from? And I have to give it to you. You know, I've always laughed at this manager appointment, Sean Dyche. You know, right now, I actually believe Tottenham needs a manager that has the Sean Dyche mentality. Like, you know, he's there to keep the club up, and that's my biggest fear, because West Ham right now have picked up in form.
Sorry, what is that my turn now? Sorry.
Yeah,
Like for
I
me,
just thought you were going to say something. Add on to it.
sorry.
Oh,
Like for me, I think Marinakis. I know he's a bit of a crazy chairman, but he kind of saw after what happened with Ange that the club needed someone like Daesh come in to steer the ship, because Forest are only, I think, 5 points behind us, and they're winning right now as we're filming. And there might even be 3 points. Sorry, there might be 3 points behind us after this, and now I think 17th. If I'm not wrong. So I think he saw the red lights happening before it happened, in the sense that he knew Forest were going to get pulled into it. So that's why he brought in Daesh. He
yeah.
knows you can, and I'm like, Daesh might not even be there like long term, like, because there's always rumors about Daesh getting sacked still. But
Agreed.
it's because they know, because I've spoken to some Forest fans as well. I'm like, Daesh is only there for like maybe a year or maybe less. Like, I think he's just there just to keep them up and steady the ship, sort of thing. But the problem I have with Frank is not like I don't think he's a bad manager. I actually don't think he's a bad manager. But the problem is he's lost the fans, and because we don't play the football that our fans like, right? So I'll give you an example. This is probably where you might be a bit right. When we had Ange, I think our fan base will probably stick with Ange now more than Frank, because
Yeah.
trophy. And even if we were in the same situation, say the same things happen, or we're like just above relegation again, I think they would be more likely to back Ange, I think, because of the trophy, for example, rather than Frank, or back another
Yeah,
manager
yeah.
plays attack football. But because Frank is like labeled by fan base as pragmatic or like negative, and he said a lot of stuff about the fans. Remember, like saying stuff like, "Oh, these aren't real fans" and all this stuff. He's kind of shot himself in the foot. So the problem is that we have a manager now that most of our fan base don't like, and we have to rely on him to try and get us out of this mess. And then we have a squad where I don't think we've got enough experienced players to kind of guide us out of it. Because obviously we talk about Tell and Odebert and players like that, man, like Berg, Val, Gray. You can't be relying on kids, man, to try and keep you up. Like it's not the situation that they should be built up in. Really, like if you're like the opposite side of the table, when you've already got a squad, you can bed in a few youngsters, but we've got so many youngsters and we're relying on them to try to be like the first teamer to like get us out of it. And I just can't. I'm worried, like in that respect, because I just don't see it happening.
All
And
right.
we've got all these
I've got a
injuries.
question for you.
Yeah.
I've got a
Yeah.
question for you. I want to know. The question is it's a yes or no answer, isn't it? Like, yeah, I've already come to the conclusion with how I feel about this topic.
Mm.
Is Tottenham getting relegated in 2026?
That's a good question. No, because Frank will get sacked eventually, and they'll bring in
That's what you're
someone.
hoping, but that's
Yeah,
what you're hoping because it's clear that they are giving him time. Because if it look, I'll be honest with you, he should have been sacked on at the West Ham. The West Ham game should have been his final game. They gave him the Dortmund game. He ended up winning. Now he's dropped points again to a team that is in that area with the relegation, which for me, if I'm going on with how Vinay used to run Arsenal, or whether he had a good say in keeping Arteta.
he wanted to keep Arteta. If you really want to know,
Exactly,
yeah.
and I'm seeing reports that he's saying he's given Frank time, which is a big concern for me because if we are going to give him until the end of the season, and if we don't sack Frank, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Tottenham, there's a big chance that we will get relegated this season, in my opinion, because I don't see how we can pick up points going into the next maybe 5 to 6 fixtures, like 5 to 6 game week, even up to going forward, like Fulham. Teams that you might say, okay, cool. Fulham is
Fulham
a
away though.
weaker side
Fulham
to
away.
the sides that we're playing, and I think that's in like maybe 4 game weeks. They're in form. They're winning everywhere they're going right now. They're
Fulham away, then we've
currently
got Liverpool away after that as well.
exactly.
Apparently,
This is what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
So it's like I can't sit here and say that we have a chance. In fact, I've actually come to the conclusion that I actually believe that if we was to keep Frank on, we're going down.
Well, one of the biggest issues is Lange, because Lange is Frank's mate. Now, I heard a story. Someone told me he knows someone from someone. Anyway, I don't know how true this is, but it probably is kind of true. Apparently, Frank
Mm,
did some crazy speech that made Lange cry and some other people cry, which is why they kept him on for another week or two or something. I don't know how true it is,
mm,
but Lange is his mate. So, like, if we get rid of Frank, we have to get rid of Lange as well, or just get rid of them both, really. And I think we need to scrap right now. We need to scrap the European model. They have the director of football and they have the manager, the
yeah,
coach. Right now we need to scrap that model and just bring in a manager, just one person, and then he can talk with the scouts about bringing in players. Someone with Premier League experience to be like, yeah, we need this player to keep us up, basically, because we were in that
yeah, yeah,
state.
yeah,
And because that's what they did years and years ago under Ramos, where they sacked and they scrapped the European model and they brought in Redknapp, and Redknapp had like his assistants and they had like the scouts as well at the club already. But So they scrapped the European model, and obviously we stayed up.
Mm.
But the difference at that time is we actually had goal scorers. They went and bought Robbie Keane and Jermaine Defoe back in January, and those goals kind of kept us up. But we're not going and buying attacking players. We're not buying goal scorers. Like Solanke, for all his hard work, doesn't score enough goals. Richardson's the same. It's not goal scorers. They're not. So in our front line, I know he's got a couple goals and Odebert's got a couple goals, but they're still young players and they're not prolific. Like our problem is we don't score goals now. So that's why I'm worried as well. Like we're in massive trouble in that respect.
So going back to the question, you don't think there's a chance of us getting relegated then?
No, there is a massive chance, but I think it'll come to a point where
it was a yes or no. It was a yes or no question. You can either be all in it or roll out of it. Remember, I'm not no flip flop. I say stuff and I keep it bucked.
But
so I made the conditions of if Frank is still in the job. If you know what, I'm going to make it easier for you. Yeah, I'm going to make it easier for you. Let me just context this question. If Frank is still in charge by the end of the season, do you see Tottenham going down? That's the question I'm going to ask. Yeah, I'm the same as well.
It's too toxic between the fans and the manager, and in this situation, you need the manager to be with the fans to try and get you out of it, really. Which is why Arteta was lucky that the fans went in the stadium when he went through his really bad patch. And considering Arsenal fans are a lot worse than us. Arsenal fans are way worse than us. They attack, the owners, the manager, like they hate him. It's the next level.
Of course.
For us, our fans don't care enough. I mean, we know we went to the protest of 200 people or 100 people, whatever. But because the fans are in the stadium, the fans at the Spurs stadium, and the fans are on the away end seeing Frank out. Like you can't escape this period. So I think we have to coming from someone who thought Frank was going to be like a good appointment because he's more adaptable. Like I don't think he has the mental fortitude, and the players don't have the mental fortitude to get us out of this. That's my biggest worry. Yeah, and because the fans are with him, I think we'll be able to maybe get out of it, but the fans are not with him anymore. So
no, you're right, my bro. You're right, because right now it's just dark times at Tottenham. You know, there's no positives. I can't see one. I can't even give one positive to that game. You know, because I was disappointed. I was actually disappointed with the lineup. You know, I thought Teletubby Tell would have got some game time. Yeah, he did end up coming on, and he was, in my opinion, probably one of our best attackers when he came on. You know, with the movement. But I'm surprised that he didn't look to play Tell. I felt like, yes, obviously us doing the Spence thing in the Premier League, in the Champions League, was because we were forced. But now you have Tell, and you drop Tell for Solanke, right? Which ended up being a good move, right? However, why not play Tell in the Burnley game? What does Tell have to do to get game time? And look, I was a big advocate to say, like, I don't really like his style. I don't think he's ready. You know what I'm talking about. I was not happy when Tell came to Tottenham. However, don't let me pretend to say, like, look, Tell is there. He's an option. You need to start trusting the players that you have. You know, it's quite ridiculous how Tottenham has been run, in my opinion.
But like on Tell specifically, I think Frank didn't want him, and that was kind of obvious because when obviously he said those things that Tell could play all across the front in his first interview or whatever, but in reality he wasn't even originally in the Champions League squad. So clearly Frank sees him as like the worst attacker, I guess, because he puts Odobert in ahead of him. So that's what I'm saying is, which is why in the Premier League where he has this new Spence option, let's say, that he's using and it sort of worked against Dortmund, he's going to go for that. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's how I think he thinks because he didn't name him in the Champions League squad, so clearly he doesn't rate him. And Tell
but then go
fair enough. He also wants to leave. And he was linked with Roma, but we can't afford to get rid of him now because of the injuries. So, like, you've got an unhappy player who wants to go but can't go because we can't afford to let him go. And that's partly because I don't know what kind of players we can attract now. Like, we're in massive trouble. Like, what experienced players can we bring in now? Who wants to come to Tottenham? That's the question. I think I'm just like, we need to bring in some players. Like, there's like 8 days left of the transfer window, and it doesn't look like we're going to sign anyone.
It's true. It's true. We definitely need to bring players in, but see, this is what I don't understand. If the fans are screaming Frank out, how can you buy players for a manager that is potentially not going to be here? It just makes no sense. So then, in a way, you can't get behind any of the signings that come into Tottenham in terms of like Conor Gallagher, whether you think he's good enough or not. You're talking about Andy Robinson, whether you think he's good enough or not. Sousa, whether you think he's experienced or not. You can't get behind any of these signings because we're buying players for a manager that's potentially going to get sacked, which means that these are not frank signings. They won't. These are technically club signings if you think about it like that.
100%.
That's my issue. My issue is, look, if you're backing Frank, you back him fully, right? But if you're not thinking that Frank is the guy for you, which I don't believe he's the guy, why is he still in charge?
Well, one thing we spoke about off camera before, man, is like you were talking about how Spurs don't have a Tottenham guy to come in, like United have Solskjaer, Carrick. Like, we don't have that person. I mentioned David Pleat before, but he's really, really, really old now, and he's not at the club anymore. He used to be involved in the club.
Can I just pause you there? Although you say we don't have people like that, we have Ledley King, we have Ryan Mason, we have some sort of significance. Even Gareth Bell. Gareth Bell can easily be a class of legend for Tottenham. You know, we do have these type of legends around. Jermaine Defoe. There's many of them. You know, we could even say Moussa Dembele, Jan Vertonghen. You've got legends there, whether they're still playing or not. You do have Lucas Moura. There's many of them. There is actually, if you think about it, there are many stars that can actually easily be classed as stars. But what are we actually doing?
With Carrick and Solskjaer, the difference is they have had experience coaching at United before, and also Carrick spent a year or two at Middlesbrough. I can't remember if it was a year or two. And he actually did quite well with them. The thing is, Mason, he's gone off and he's failed at West Brom. I think they went winless in like 10 games or something, and he got sacked.
Yeah.
And of course, we had him interim twice, and everyone doesn't like it because they know he's not that great. And he had his mates, and he would put his mates in the teams. And Defoe, I don't know how far along he's coaching badges wise. I know Dembele, King, they don't. As far as I know, they don't really have that much experience coaching wise. Like, they might have a little bit, but I think with United, because they knew Carrick had experience at Borough, they'll be like, "Oh, he's a great choice. He did all quite well at Borough. We can appoint him. He'll probably do quite well with us." I don't look at any of our Spurs legends who are in management either, and then think, "Oh wow, let's bring in." Like, we just got Parker to Burnley already.
True.
I think the problem also is with Frank is that who are they going to replace him with short term? Like, do they even know? Like, have they done their research? Because you look at West Ham and they obviously signed 3 attackers, didn't they? Those attackers I've never heard of, but clearly they have done some scouting and research to try and address this issue they're having with like the team. With us, even though we've never heard of those players, right? But with us, you don't see us doing that. Like, obviously, we signed Gallagher. Everyone knew who Gallagher was, and the kid from Brazil. And Robertson's a Premier League player, which is good. I'm not saying they're bad signings, but like, it's not like we've done what West Ham doing, where they've signed 3 already, and they all come and made a difference. But there's people that they scouted, so our scouting is really poor, which is what got us here in the first place as well. Like, so I don't have confidence in the club getting rid of Frank and bringing someone else in as well. Like, I don't know if they know what they're doing. That's a problem. I don't know if they know what they're doing.
There's no confidence. Yeah. You know what? That should be what we should wrap it up on under. There's no confidence with the board. There's no confidence with Frank. There's no confidence with these players. We don't have no confidence in our
Like we as
future. We
fans
don't even
don't
know
have
if we're going to stay up.
confidence in them. Like they don't have confidence in them to do the right decisions. Like the club is a
100%.
mess.
They don't.
Frank, I think, is partly there because his mate Lange is there. So Lange is one of the reasons why I think he's still in the job. Because Vinay and Lange are the two people basically in the job, from what I've heard. And then you got the players who were overloaded youngsters because we signed a load 1 or 2 years ago. And then the experienced players are coming in and they're not that great. We just kind of replaced, say, a Hoiberg 2 years later. I know it sounds bad me saying this, but so essentially what Gallagher is really a Hoiberg replacement. And like Kuda's got injured, like he came in, and then we sold Johnson, and we've not really replaced him. I'd say like we've not signed a winger, or another attacker really. Like, so I don't think they know what they're doing. Like, and that's the thing. As fans, we weren't enough of us at the protest, man. Like, they're really the problem. Ineos are really the problem. And I was watching another podcast. I can't remember who it was. They were saying that's comparing Spurs to Everton. Now Everton now are like all right because they've got Moyes in. They're starting to buy better. But Everton used to be like a really big club, and then they fell down, and they were literally fighting relegation every year, pretty much, or like where we are every single year, because their recruitment was so poor. And remember they spent like 60 million on Sigurdsson or something like that, crazy like that, which is just really poor, like buying. I don't know why you dropped 60, 70 million on Sigurdsson. He's never that kind of player. But this is part, like fact, like when we spent 70 million on Dombele, for example, the same sort of thing. And because of that, they were stuck in the same, like just above the relegation fight every season, or like sometimes in it. And this is where we're heading, like obviously, and this is where, because the club has no direction. Like Vinay doesn't come out and say the aim of the club is to get in the top 4 in 3 years, for example, or like win the title. And so there's no hope. Like we look at it and we just don't know what they're going to do. They don't tell us. Like,
difficult.
We're lost. We're a lost club.
Yeah, man, difficult. Tottenham's in a dark era. Dark era. Cool. All right, thank you for coming on, my bro. Really appreciate it. Just before we end this video, I just want to say thank you again for 2K subscribers. I don't even know how I'm doing it, man. Let me be honest with you. I'm just constantly releasing content, you know, and I've hit that 2K mark. Only on Thursday I hit the 1K mark. Imagine that, my friend.
Yeah. Has it been
That's crazy.
2 days?
In 2 days. But you know what? In my defense, it's only like, I'll be so real. It's one video that is gaining the traction. It's a video I've done maybe 4 or 5 days ago. It's now at like maybe I think 3.5K or 4K views, you know. And it's seen on with my YouTube studio where you can do like what videos are getting most clicks. It seems like we're getting clips from that video, so I think subscribers are subscribing from that video, which honestly I really appreciate all the new subscribers that are watching me right now and also supporting my channel, supporting Hazard's channel. Go on and promote yourself, my bro. You might as well, man.
TV. I'm trying to get to 500 first before I try and hit 1,000. But yeah, please go subscribe. Me and TJ basically do content pretty much 2 or 3 times a week at this point.
Of course.
So yeah. Well done on 2K. Even though I told you this morning as well. But yeah,
it's crazy, isn't it? You know what? I was prepared. You know, I was preparing to do like a roll to 2K thing. You know. The way I've done the thank you video for 1K. But now I've just hit 2K, so I'm doing a road to 5K, giving me some time to like, if my run is still going to go on from this point on, I hope I can hit 5K by the end of, I don't know, by the end of this year. By the end of this year, I'm hoping to hit 5K. I'm trying my best.
Cool.
You know?
Yeah,
again,
decide to change when it comes to making content. It's going to change in like 2 weeks. It's mad.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for coming on, my bro. I really appreciate it. And come on, you Spurs. Right, I'll end the video in a second. Hold on 1 minute. Hold on. Cool. End. Yo, people, follow me on Instagram. That is 0TJ. Follow me on Twitter. That is Spursy Talks.
Like and subscribe.